Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ladies of Sosa podcast. My name is Sahra.
And my name is Christine.
And as you guys can see, we are in a new studio today.
A new home. A temporary home.
A temporary home. Let us know how you feel about it. We might pop in here every now and then when we're not doing panels. Oh, and also, it's just me and Christine, if you haven't noticed. So today we're doing a special episode dedicated to South Sudanese Independence Day. South Sudan just turned a brand new year on July 9th, and we just celebrated our independence. So we wanted to do something special in regards to that because South Sudan is the newest country in the world.
And it's only right as a South Sudanese-based podcast.
Yeah.
So we do want to try out different spaces. The studio that we use is getting super popular. So we're hoping that, fingers crossed, we can get our own space in the near future so we can pump out more content.
Inshallah.
And just do more, which is like we have so many things that we want to do. But right now we are sharing a studio. So we are grateful for everyone's patience with us. We've been reading all the comments and people telling us that they want us to put out more than one video a week.
Yes, we see all the comments and the feedback, and we're so grateful because it actually shows that, you know, you guys actually care about the project with us. And we care about the project just as much as you guys. And so we want to keep it like the quality, consistency. We want to do that. We do apologize for someone said, how many vacations are y'all going to take this year? Because
yes, that was hilarious. That literally made me laugh out loud. But I love you guys holding us accountable. All of our true supporters who watch every week and who message us and give us feedback and let us know whenever it's not the best and hold us to the fire, because we do want to put out good content. So it's so great and so amazing that I feel like we're kind of building like a community of people who enjoy what we do. And I think that that's super motivating. But when we fall off a little bit or life gets in the way, like you guys whip us back into shape, so we appreciate that.
And sometimes honestly you might feel the same way. I'll just think like, well, they won't even notice.
No one's gonna care.
Yeah, no, they won't even notice if we don't post today or if we don't do an episode. They won't notice. But you know, at least I'll make a little small statement. But y'all be like, what happened to the episode? So
thank you for noticing.
Yes, thank you for noticing. Because honestly, sometimes we're just like, it's okay. You know, there's other episodes. They can catch up on other stuff. But some of y'all are like, expect an episode, and y'all hold us to that. Like, if we're gonna, and we agree, if we're gonna do this project, we got to go all the way. So we appreciate that. We
tried so hard to stay consistent since we started, and I feel like we haven't missed a week of content until recently. So it's nice to know that it does matter, and I feel like that's motivating to like keep it going and stuff. So y'all, we're gonna keep it going. Forgive us for going on 2 vacations in 3 months.
For real. And we're gonna be back and be consistent, and thank you guys, and we love you guys, our Sosa Fam.
And shout out to South Sudan. So in this episode we are going to be talking about our beloved country, South Sudan.
Independence Day. We also got we passed the mic to our audience, so we got a little bit of feedback from the audience and like the questions that we asked. We'll go over it. Before we get into that, for the viewers who may not know the history of South Sudan, you want to let's give them like a little brief history of like why South Sudanese Independence Day is so important, because we gained our independence on July 9th in 2011, and we became the newest country in the world. But I also feel like the history of South Sudan is so unique.
It is.
It's very unique compared to a lot of other African countries, because we've all been through so much as a continent. However, the way that our history is unique is like, I feel like most African countries gained their independence through like directly from the colonial list, you know? And we kind of, our history is we had a referendum, we had a civil war, we had a civil war where we broke into 2 countries and
people voted to separate.
Exactly. And I feel like that's such an important thing to talk about. And how it was over 99%, or it was like 98 point.
I think it was 98. Somewhere around there. Do you remember that? I remember that time.
Yes. So we had a referendum in 2011. Where we voted for the split. Was it? No, let's reverse a little bit.
Okay.
Let's reverse a little bit so we can give them the correct context before we jump into it. So January of 2005, they signed the CPA agreement, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, with John Garang. And that's when it made him the president of the South and also gave him representation in Khartoum.
I think he was one of the vice presidents.
Yes. And then with that agreement, they agreed to have a referendum in 6 years where they can choose to either stay with Sudan or become their own country, South Sudan. And so the 6 years came, which was in 2011. And that's when they voted for the split of the countries, which
and I remember that, especially locally here in Dallas, we were still really young, but I remember our parents being involved, and like all of the elders getting together. I feel like they voted here.
Yeah, you could vote here.
Yeah, so I know that like my parents went, all of the aunties and uncles, it was like a thing, like they gathered together. There was people who were like manning like the voting tables and stuff, and like, it was like a whole thing. So I remember like the buzz, the energy around it, like all of the excitement.
Yes, my sister was actually in South Sudan at the time, so she got to vote in South Sudan, and I remember her taking a picture of her putting in the ballot.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, it was just such a amazing historic time for our country because we were literally I didn't really understand the gravity of how big it was,
how young we were at that time.
But now when I think about it, I'm like, wow, like that was a moment where we had an opportunity to actually vote and speak for ourselves and actually be represented. It kind of gives me chills a little bit.
I know. I wish we could have voted.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But I'm glad that we were able to be a part of it here in the diaspora.
Yes.
I think that was really important and beautiful to see like the people here united with the people back home. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So fast forward to today or this month, which is July.
Yes.
July 9th was our independence, and I saw some videos of people in South Sudan. Like there was like celebrating. And I think Noor, you know Noor, right?
Yeah.
He posted something, and he was like,
he posted a lot. He was like,
he was the plug,
like everything, like a little compilation. Is really nice.
We should probably post like one of his videos,
one of his reels.
Yeah. And he said something along the lines like, all the different tribes are all here and like we're all celebrating, and I'm just like, I love that so much.
Yeah, you can feel the energy from the videos. It was so like exhilarating. I wish we could have been a part of it, but I mean, I just feel so connected to the country and to see how far we've come. Even though things aren't perfect, I think we do still have something to celebrate, and we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that. Yeah,
but I feel so special because the Independence Day is actually the day after my birthday, so I feel like I kind of share a birthday with South Sudan.
You're both Cancer.
We are both Cancer. So I said something about that America's is July 4th and then we're July 9th. So both of our countries, we're South Sudanese, so we're American. Both of our Independence Days kind of fall within the same week. So I think that that's pretty cool as well.
That's awesome. And that's amazing. I mean, yeah, so there's just so much to get into, but we wanted to brief you guys on the history for those of you who may not be South Sudanese, and you're just kind of like learning about the culture and interested in South Sudanese culture. Yeah. But let's get into some of the feedback that we got. So we sent out a little questionnaire to anybody in the South Sudanese diaspora, or if you even live in South Sudan, about like what the questions. Some of the questions were, how do you feel about the state of the country? What would you say to our leaders? What makes you proud to be South Sudanese? And so we did get some answers and some feedback. And so we're going to read some.
And if you missed it, please, you guys, make sure you watch our stories. We always want to involve our audience. So if you missed this round, please be on the lookout. We always try to like get you guys to interact and send in videos and voice notes so that you can be featured on these episodes. Since you guys support us so much, we would love to kind of like include you guys in a lot of the content.
Yes. So Lupai Anthony, he lives in South Sudan. Shout out to you. He said his hope for South Sudan is that, I'm paraphrasing because I'm trying to make it in present tense. So my hope for South Sudan is that we get the ability to practice democracy freely. I hope the people have the freedom of expression, and I hope the country becomes more secure for all South Sudanese to return back home. He said, I'm currently in South Sudan, and I would love for all of us, for all of you guys, pretty much talking to diaspora, to please come back and work on our country as a team with all the new skills, ideas, and cultures that we have adopted from other countries.
I love that.
Yes, yeah. I love that a lot.
I agree.
So piggybacking off of that, we both agree, obviously.
Especially the democracy and all of that. So
yes. What is your hope for South Sudan, or what would you say to our leaders?
I feel like I kind of share the sentiments of like the democracy of everyone being able to have a voice. And I feel like for the people to be in the forefront of all like decision making, and for like infrastructure, I really feel like I would love for more money to be invested into like developing our country, so that, you know, we can maybe get some tourism going. We have a beautiful country. The Nile River runs through our country. We have a lot of natural resources, beautiful people, beautiful culture. So I would love like for more to be put into like infrastructure, whether it be commercial buildings. You know, I'm in real estate, so I would love to see like more housing as far as like apartment buildings, things for people to do, like activities, excursions, things that would attract people to want to kind of like visit the country more.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my hope in the short term.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And I feel like my hope is more transparency in government. I feel like a lot of young people, what deters us from going back to South Sudan, the ones who live in diaspora, is we think that there's nothing that we can do because it's like run by a certain few people. Right. And there's like, we can't contribute because they won't even if we have ideas, they're not open to it. Right. So I hope that one day, in the very near future, us South Sudanese youth can actually make a real impact in government, that we continue to have fair elections, transparency with where our money is going as a country.
Yeah, the money needs to be reinvested back into the country, whether it be creating more jobs, more opportunities for people. I think that that's really important so that our economy can grow. You know, I feel like we have so many resources. There's no reason why agriculture, like I feel like more needs to be invested into like agriculture as far as growing our own foods, because
there's so much
such
food.
Like fertile land, you know? So I feel like there's so much potential. It just takes the people in power, leadership, to invest back into the people who will in turn like grow the country.
Like imagine if the government
and the children, actually, education. How can we forget education?
There's so much. But imagine if the government gave like every household that's struggling like 3 cows or 2 cows, or like something that they could grow or make something of, you know, like, or gave them a piece of, because there's so much wealth in the country.
Jobs, like don't even give people opportunities. I think that's what's most important. And
but I think agriculture is the future of South Sudan.
It is.
So if you kind of jumpstart, that's like investing into your people in
like
a way.
Help people, give them like, I don't want to say a seed, but quite literally.
Yeah.
Give them a seed
literally.
to grow.
Yeah.
And you'll see in a few years, like we'll be almost like self-sufficient. We won't need to like import food or anything like that. There's no reason why we should be like importing food, especially from other places, because we have everything that we need to be able to kind of like feed ourselves. There's no reason why people should be hungry or anything like that, you know? So.
But I agree with you. Yeah, give people opportunities, give people jobs. But I feel like also because there's so much poverty in the country and the people are struggling, give those people like a cow, like give them our agriculture, like invest it back into them, because you're already using the money for your own desires, you know, your own, like the money's not being allocated well anyway, so might as well do a little bit of social welfare and give back to the people of South Sudan, whether that's giving each family this amount of cows or this amount of chickens, or like, you know, just something that they could jumpstart something, start their own farm, start anything. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but hopefully as the new generation, and elections are coming this year, 2024.
It's crazy how we're having an election year in both countries. So there's so much potential, and that's why it's so sad. Like, I just feel like we need the government, the people in power, to really, really make an effort to incentivize the people, and to, like I said, educate the children. Like those are the people that's going to grow up. But if you educate them, they need to be able to have jobs to where when they are finished with school, they can, you know, not want to leave the country in order to search for opportunities and stuff like that. And
that's what they usually do. That's what we usually seek. They go to school, or they seek work or opportunities around East Africa.
Exactly.
And like, speaking of education, as a South Sudanese, like, woman-based podcast, education for women, young girls, the girl child, like, that's so important. And how we talked about this before, young girls are so disadvantaged in South Sudan. A lot of the people are disadvantaged, but girls especially, because their men at least are given a little bit more opportunity than the girls there. And there's just so much to work on. We talked about how we wanted to maybe do something where we give back pads and like menstrual, the things for your menstrual cycle, like commodities, like stuff like that back, because when girls start their period in South Sudan, they don't go to school. They miss school, and they're already the least likely to go to school already outside of that. And then they get married very early because of child marriage. So they don't get educated. Therefore, they're not going to get jobs. They're not going to have as much opportunities as the men. So, and that's like half of the population. So
even you bringing up like menstrual products, I feel like healthcare. I think that's something that needs to be invested into as well. And mental health, like, I don't know what podcast we did a few episodes ago when we were talking about mental health and how we weren't sure if there was like mental health facilities. Like, and
I said there was none, but Tokyo, she said there was one. There was one.
Correct us. I'm not sure what it is now, but
but still, that's not enough.
For
as much war as we've been through. 30 years of civil war. If you guys, I feel like we should remind the people, like everything that South Sudan has been through in honor of our birthday, you know. But 30 years of civil war. There's so much trauma, PTSD.
The 13th birthday. But you know, the country's 13 years old.
Can we move that leaf on your ear? It's bothering me.
Thank you, because I feel like, what is this?
I don't know. I had to do it. Turn the entire plant. Like, move it away, because it's in your face. It's in your face.
I feel like it, and that's why it's throwing me off. Like,
I moved it.
Sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
It's our first time shooting here.
It's our first time with this room.
So we gotta improvise. Is it okay? No. Oh, now there's another one. Okay, let's try
you gotta make it fit.
Let's try this again.
Oh, hell no.
It's worse.
Can you push it back? You know, there you go. Okay. Maybe that will help.
Is this okay, y'all?
Yes, I think that's a lot better.
Okay.
Right? It was just like,
it's a lot.
It was like,
I know. Okay, so ignore all of that.
Yes, sorry, y'all. We in a new space. You know, we're getting adjusted.
We gotta.
You know, when you visit someone's house for the first time, and you're still like, like, I don't know how to get comfortable.
But we love props, though. But not in the hair.
Not all in the hair, but no. But yes, so like health, mental health. And just, there's so much to do in South Sudan, but we're proud. That we are a country that's on the path of development, and I mean, that could be argued as well, but
Let us know. You know what? We're going to take this moment. If you are enjoying the content, please give us a like, because we need to work on getting our likes up. It helps to promote the videos to other people who are watching, especially on YouTube or whatever platform it is that you're listening to this. Please like the video, and that helps us out so much.
And then let us know what you think of everything that's being said during the discussion.
Yeah.
But
what else we got?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. We were getting all into the conversation.
You know,
I forgot there's more. Okay, so someone said we need to normalize playing our tribe's music at Independence Day celebrations, not just Afro beats.
Oh, see, I wouldn't know. Do they mean back home?
I think they just mean in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they mean in general. Like when we're celebrating South Sudanese Independence Day, like we need to start playing our own music because we're celebrating South Sudan, you know?
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I feel like in Dallas, I don't know about other like communities here stateside, but we don't really have Independence Day celebrations anymore as of the last few years. Yeah. But I remember growing up, especially the first few years after we gained our independence, we did used to have the Independence Day celebrations, and there did used to be traditional dances from a few of the bigger tribes, and they would play the traditional music, and everybody would dress up in, you know, their traditional wear, and it was so cool to see like the Acholi tribe, the Dinka tribes, the Bari tribe, different tribes like coming out, and you can see the pride, Shilluk, and you can see the pride and like learn about other tribes' culture that you might not have known about. So I don't know how it is. I don't know if they're back home, but at that particular event, they did used to play the tribal music. But I mean, yeah, I think that was implemented by our elders. Right.
They're the ones who planned out those like conferences where all the tribes would get together, and they would, because they're the ones who educated us, like, you know, about the tribal dances and just
so
like
why
different
do you
cultures.
Think that has
changed?
Not only slowed down, but completely ceased.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have said over the years, I've heard comments such as, what are we even celebrating? Like, what's the point of celebrating? Like, there's nothing to celebrate. And I feel like, I'm not sure if that's the reason, but I don't know. You guys let us know if you've heard like people making these comments.
I've heard that narrative. It's like South Sudan is there's still people dying. There's still famine. There's still like all of this. There's still so much struggle. Like why even celebrate South Sudanese Independence Day? I feel like that's where the elders come in to kind of educate us on like everything that South Sudan has been through.
That's true.
And I think that's where the disconnect is, because our elders celebrate South Sudan Independence Day. They don't even question it.
Right.
I think it's usually the younger generation that questions it, and I think it's because we don't fully understand like the gravity of like what we have overcome to become South Sudan.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
You know,
I think people are looking at, I feel like especially after certain events that took place, like, I don't know, there was like some killings that happened.
Yeah, and then 2013.
Yeah, like, so I feel like after that, people were just like,
yeah, what's the reason?
Yeah, and that's something that we need to work on. Like, where is the pride and patriotism at right now? I feel like that came back recently with like the basketball team. I saw a lot more patriotism, especially in the diaspora, when our basketball team was doing really, really well. It gave us something to believe in, something to cheer about, something to be proud about. But outside of sports, where does the patriotism lie?
Yeah, but because if your memory or your like what you base your history off of is like the 2013 when there was like genocide, like, you know, the recent genocide and what happened, then it's going to be hard to be patriotic, because that was not a good time for us to be a new country. Everybody was disappointed,
and that's what I think it was. I feel like it was after that time people were just like,
but you have to, like, our country is so much more than that. You know, that was a disappointing time,
right? And
there still has to be some, you know, there still has to be accountability and all of that that has to take place. But also we kind of just briefly talked about our history and what we've been through. The slave trade. We had a slave trade in South Sudan where people, like, our people were being used as slaves
up north.
And like the North marginalizing the South, and Darfur, we know, like, we did the Free Darfur, if you guys remember that. Right. There was so much stuff that our people, like, overcame. Mm-hmm. And so it's still a celebration. Right. This is still a celebratory time, even though there's still things to work on in our country. So I don't think it negates the fact that, yes, South Sudan still has stuff to work on, and there's a lot of stuff needs to be worked on, but it doesn't take away from the fact that July 9th is still our birthday. It's still South Sudan's birthday. Right. You know? Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, like, imagine, like, if something happened, your birthday was recent. If something happened, like, in history not too long ago, close to the time of your birthday, we would still celebrate your birthday. Right. You know? Yeah. Like, it doesn't take away or it doesn't take away or add. It's still there.
Yeah. And I think that that's important. And I feel like our platform, because even though we didn't have an episode that came out on Independence Day, we did feel like it was important to at least attempt to highlight it and, you know, just discuss it. Like, we might not be where we want to be, but at the end of the day, it's our country.
It's our country.
And it's on us to make it what we want it to be.
Yeah, it's like a child. It's like your child. If your child is not doing well, not behaving well, do you just disown your child? No. You still love them and you still work on them. You don't just say, like, well, forget South Sudan. Like, no, that's could never do that. Yeah. So I'm glad we addressed that, because I'm sure
that's important.
Yes.
I feel like that's I don't know. I just felt like over the years, it just felt to the point where I see people independently celebrating, like making their posts and showing their pride, but I just miss that sense of us celebrating as a community.
Yes. I wish we had the time.
We have the time.
Well, no, me and you to have the time to throw something.
To do something. But at the end of the day, we would still need the community
to show
up and actually want that.
Well, because I was like, I'm waiting for the South Sudanese Independence Day flyers. Yeah. I'll pull up.
Everybody's waiting on somebody else to do it, and then it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of it is not just because people don't want to celebrate. I also think that with us living in diaspora, it's gotten to the point where we've been here for a while. I think people have gotten, like, comfortable and adjusted in their lives, and everyone's kind of, like, separated off and they're doing their own thing. So it's just like that sense of community is just lost as a whole. Yeah. It's not just necessarily Independence Day. It's just in general. True. It's just, like, not there as much unless you go to church.
Right.
But, you know.
Right. We're not even as connected as a community.
No.
On the other hand of that, I do want to say, some people might see it as insensitive to celebrate if their people are still suffering or the people are still dying.
That's true.
So I can see that side of it. So there's so many different perspectives on it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it just depends on how you view it.
Yeah, well, we're always going to celebrate it here.
Yeah, on my perspective. But we need to bring back our community. Because that's part of why, like, I'm like, where's the flyer? But somebody else might be like, I'm looking for the flyer too. And
I think people will come if something is promoted and being had. But I don't necessarily feel like anyone is willing to be the one to take that initiative now.
Yes, true.
And that's here in
But that used to be a thing, though. People used to actively, like, plan.
Well, we had a community. Yeah. We had, like, a community with, like, a president, a vice president. Like, it was very organized. So those types of things naturally were taken care of. But now I feel like if you're not a part of the church community, I don't really see that community organization.
Oh my goodness. And we lost a big part of our community when Moore passed away. Yeah. Because he was the president. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace to Noor Akut. He was the president of the South Sudanese, I guess, community here in Dallas. Yeah. I don't know if there was, did they have an official name? I just knew him as
I just can't remember.
I just knew him as a community leader. Yeah. In the South Sudanese community in Dallas. But he was like a huge instrument in, like, doing these events and fundraising. Mm-hmm. And he passed away in 2020 during COVID. And I just want to say rest in peace to him.
He was amazing.
Rest in peace. So Hassan Aruni, we interviewed Hassan.
Yes, we love Hassan Aruni.
Yes, he's a former BBC journalist, and he dedicated a lot of his time in South Sudan, and he spent I think he said like 3 or 4 months there, and he interviewed some of our like biggest leaders, including our first president, John Garang, Salva Kiir, who was the current president of South Sudan, and also Riek Machar, who was the vice president of South Sudan. One of the vice presidents, because we have a lot. But he sent us something, and it says, I remember on the evening of July 8th, 2011, Hassan Aruni asked Dr. Marielle Benjamin of how we are prepared to birth the country. And Marielle's reply was, the birth of this country will be different from other African countries because we're beginning from zero. Hassan asked to elaborate what he meant with zero, and Marielle responded, colonialists built hospitals, railways, prepared their colonies for self-governance before independence. Our Arab brothers left us with nothing. So that was when Hassan Aruni, former BBC journalist, interviewed of 30 years, interviewed Marielle Benjamin, who was the current minister of South Sudan. How do you feel about that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it just ties into everything we were just talking about.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to like the knowledge of the elders, because I think that put a lot into perspective for me.
Right.
Because obviously you know that, but you don't really like put it into your day-to-day life and like put it into a perspective. Like we do, our history is different from a lot of African countries, and sometimes we try to compare ourselves, but our history is different. Like colonialism was ugly, and it's not something that was, I mean, obviously we don't glorify colonialism, and it showed its ugly head towards a lot of African countries, but colonialists did, like, for the countries that they did see potential in, or they wanted to, or they worked with, they did like create hospitals, like infrastructure. Right. So there's that, but we're South Sudan. We were never developed in any capacity, and not even with our the Arab colonizers, or Egypt, or Britain. Like nobody colonized, or nobody developed South Sudan in any capacity.
That's true.
So there was nothing left for us, honestly. We had to feed
so we're
for
starting
ourselves
from scratch, but I feel like we have all of the ingredients, all of the necessary components to develop and be a great nation. I just think that it takes proper, and I don't want to use the word leadership because I don't want to get blowback, but I just feel like it takes the proper visionary or visionaries to come together and say, we know that it's going to take some time, but we are going to develop this nation to what we know it can be, and start putting the proper steps in place to get South Sudan to where we all know it can be. But it takes visionaries. It takes people who see a greater vision for the country outside of like their own personal interests. And I think right now, the people in power are not necessarily looking for what is for the greater good of the nation. Yeah. I think that it's more individualistic based or familial. Yeah,
and nepotism.
Yeah. And so I think we all benefit from when our country is in a good place. Like, I would love for us to be a place like, I don't want to compare ourselves to other countries, but like Tanzania, Kenya, where they have like the safari where people can go and like vacation there and like see how beautiful the country is. Or, like South Africa, like South Sudan has really, really a beautiful, we have beautiful nature, landscape. We have the Nile River. There's a lot of different things that like people would want to come and see, but people are not going to spend their money to come to a country where I don't want to say it's unstable, because I don't think that it's unstable right now, but there has to be some level of comfort or things for people to do, like excursions that are organized, like companies that come together. I know there might be a few now, but that come together and do like tours, like maybe boat rides on the Nile River, or things that people can plan an itinerary around.
Yeah. They do that now.
That's what I'm saying. I know they do it now, but I feel like for the government to invest into that and like because I know like when we went to Morocco, in certain countries, they know that tourism is so important. So they'll have different laws and stuff in place to where it'll incentivize for tourists to feel safe in the country. So I feel like if the government makes that a priority, that could be another stream of income for people, that people can do henna for people, make beads for people, sell stuff on the road, like different things like restaurants. So there'll be so much that can come from that. Yeah. Because we have such a beautiful culture. So I feel like there's so much that even if it's not tourism, maybe it's like agriculture, maybe the government will invest in like incentivizing people to grow food or whatever it may be, you know?
Yeah, just anything to develop.
To stimulate the economy, so where like the country is like for us, by us, like, we're creating jobs and it's stabilizing the economy, and people are able to benefit from the jobs that are created, like the money that's spent is able to come back and, kind of circulate. Yeah. So I feel like that's important because there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot. When we even talk about nepotism, we talked about in the other episode where it's not like people say the people in power, like nepotism as far as like the Dinka tribe, but then there's a lot of Dinka people that are also suffering. So there, as a whole, when we look at the country across tribes, people are doing bad. Yeah. So yeah. The majority of, I would say the majority of people are not doing well, or not doing as well as they could be if we had a sustainable economy and sustainable political structure. Yeah. It's just, there's just so much to work on. So. Even us as privileged people in diaspora, when we go home, we can go to the nice restaurants, to the nice places that people who live back home aren't able to go to, or eat at the restaurants that people back home aren't able to eat at. So for us, it's like, oh, okay, everything's great. Like, I'm having fun, I'm outside, like whatever, but not seeing the real reality of what it would be like if you actually lived there and didn't have like kind of like access.
I think it's similar to the States, where like there's only, not everyone can afford to go to like the nice places here. Like not everyone can afford to go to the Ritz-Carlton here in Dallas,
Yeah, that's true.
And it's similar in South Sudan. From my experience, is like only the people, like the elite, or like I don't feel like we really have a middle class. That's where we need to grow. Yeah. It's like, it's either you have money or you don't, Yeah. So there's no like, we're middle class.
Kind of going to that direction.
Because we're middle class. We're not rich. Yeah. But if we really want to go to the Ritz-Carlton, we can. Yeah. Or if we really want to go somewhere nice, we can, because
back home we can.
Back home for sure we can. For sure.
We have a certain standard of, I don't know, like living in America, growing up in America, certain comforts we have come to expect as like the norm. Yeah. So I feel like going back home.
But I don't think the middle class in South Sudan would go to like an expensive restaurant in South Sudan. Yeah. From my opinion, if y'all want to correct me, you can. If you want to come for me, that's fine.
Well, you went home a few times.
Yeah, like I think like that's the difference. It's like we as middle class here.
So you feel like only the rich would go?
I think so. That's what I've seen. I feel like I've seen more of like the elites or the people who have access, a lot of access, go to nice places. Okay. I don't see like middle class. I haven't really seen the middle class in South Sudan. So I would love to see that. And you please correct me and educate me if I'm wrong. But that's from what I've seen with my own eyes. I haven't really seen like a white collar. Like, like a lot of that, like a big percentage of that.
That's true. And I've seen like on YouTube and social media, some South Sudanese like vloggers who are like day in life in South Sudan. I would love for you guys to do more videos
so we can know more.
So we can see like what it's like living there and what's going on. I feel like that's always exciting to me, because I'm like, okay, when I go home, I want to go there. I want to do that. Yes. So please, like more content creators.
Yes. Our money goes a long way here. So when we go back home, it does go a long way. So we can do kind of the similar things. Yeah. But I think as far as the citizens that live in back home, I don't know if there's like the same type of like accessibility. Please educate us. You know, I'm gonna go into it not knowing, and y'all tell us so that we can learn from y'all. And we need to have someone from South Sudan on the show.
We do. Let me ask you a question.
Ooh, girl.
Sarah.
Yes.
I have two questions. Why are you proud to be South Sudanese?
I love that question. That's a great question.
Thank you.
So there's so many reasons I'm proud to be South Sudanese. The main reason I'm proud to be South Sudanese is because I feel like our people are so resilient. We have been through so much as a country, as a people, no matter if you're living in South Sudan still, or you were displaced, or you live, you know, here in America, Australia, Uganda, Kenya. I feel like we've been through so much, but we're such nice people.
We are nice.
That's what I love about us the most. We're so nice. I'm sorry, I gotta brag on us real quick. Yes, very humble spirited, hospitable, like very kind. I'm gonna tell a quick story real quick. Story time. When I went to South Sudan the very first time when my sister got married, I think this was 2013. No, it was not 2013. It was like 2012. It was a little bit after we gained independence. And I was hanging out with my cousins and we were walking. I was wearing the Safinja, like flip-flops. And my flip-flop snapped. So like I had to take off my shoes and just walk barefoot. And there was this guy who came up to me and he was like, "Take my shoes." Yes, just regular guy who was just I don't know what he was doing, minding his business, but he saw that my shoes I couldn't use them, so he walked up to me and said, like, take my shoes. And I was like, no, I can't take your shoes. Oh no. And he was just like, no, please take my shoes.
That's so
and
sweet.
He was so adamant about me taking it, and so I was like, no, thank you.
That's just like the culture.
That's the culture. And he was so like, I don't know, that just shows the heart of our people. It was, I don't know, it still sits with me, and I think about that all the time, and like think about him too, like, you know,
the kindness.
Here in America, I don't feel like people would do that. They would just mind their business.
Just ignore it.
They're like, "Are you okay, girl?" Okay.
But I think like our culture is one of like sharing. So everything is about like giving what you have when people come over. If like you're about to put food on the table, then we're all about to eat dinner. You know, when people come, you want to serve people. It's all about like hospitality and making people feel like
comfortable.
You know, comfortable and stuff. Not murta.
Like, you know,
oh my God. I did not expect you to say that.
I'm screaming. No, but
I love it. Let's practice that Arabic.
Okay, because you know they were on our head after that video.
Girl, you didn't even say that confidently. But I love it. Yeah, like it's all about. My mom would get on me when people come over. It's like, no, you like go make shy.
You know how they do that. Like, and they say it in front of the guests, like, oh no, go make tea. And they'll be like, no, we don't.
Like get on you. It's like, you haven't done this. Like, you know, like what's going on? Like do this. Like I remember when my friends would sleep over. I used to hate it because in the morning my mom would be like, you haven't made breakfast for your friends.
Right.
Like, oh my God, like, how can you invite people to your house and you don't make breakfast for them? Like, every little thing is like, you need to go above and beyond to be hospitable to people when they're in your home.
Yes. And it doesn't even matter if you're South Sudanese.
And she's like, I don't care. Like, what is this? Like, you didn't get up, you didn't put for them this, you didn't put for them that, you didn't. It's just like, so it's
even
like
when I went to your house and I had spent the night, and your mom was like, "Did you drink tea?
No,
Jomo, did you drink tea?" I was like, "No, it's okay, auntie."
And it's like, I'm in trouble.
right. So, still,
I'm like, I thought you, like my mom, like, aren't you supposed to? She's like, no, it's you. This is your friend. Brought your friend over here. Make sure she eats. Make sure she has everything that she needs. And that's it. Like my mom would call me from the room to the living room to get on me. Like, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? Do you want people to talk about me when you go out? When your friend goes home, they're gonna say that you didn't do this and that. Like, so
my mom even told me, she's like, you don't ask what they want, you just bring it. And
don't say that you don't want to eat. They will they will take it as an insult if you refuse to eat.
Yes. and I will sometimes ask, like, auntie, what do you want to drink, or what do you like? Do you want Coke? Do you want Sprite? And she's like, no, just bring everything, like, and just set it out and let people choose. It's like, make it easier for them.
Because I've been like, but she said she didn't want it, and my mom was like, no, you have to just put it there.
Just put it there, like, and then just let them pick if they want it.
And then they'll sit there and argue you down, like, well, lie, like if you don't do this to you,
right? So that's our culture. It's
it is. And I love it.
Hospitable, kind, caring, like trying to make things easy for you. And I think that says a lot about us as people. Cause
it does.
I mean, we've been through a lot.
Yeah. But the core of who we are as people is like really good people. And that's what I love that about being South Sudanese too. It's like wherever you go, you know that people are going to go out of their way to make you feel comfortable and wanted and included and loved and comfortable. And I think that culturally we got that down packed.
Period.
Like as a country, there might be some things that need to go on. But as the people goes, because that's really
the people, that's the heart of the country.
Yeah. As the people goes, like we got the culture, like we are good people,
nice people.
So we treat
people how we want to be treated.
Exactly. So yeah, shout out to South Sudan.
Shout out to South Sudan for that.
So our beloved country. 13 years. Gosh, it's flown by.
We're 13 years old.
Yeah,
such a baby.
Teenager.
Yes, we're older.
Like,
we're older than South Sudan.
We are. That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, but I just love like our country. I'm so excited for all that's to come, and I really hope that us as the next generation are able to come together more across the world, not even just in our own small communities, but it does start in the community that we're in, and then it'll branch out from there. Like just coming back to, especially in diaspora, when we first moved to wherever it is that we live, we depend on each other so much, and I feel like now that we've kind of spread our wings and kind of got our footing, it's like now we're kind of good. We don't need each other as much, but we don't understand how much we do need each other, especially for like the next generation and our kids. I really want them to have that sense of community that we had growing up. That was so beautiful, and I'm thankful for it.
We need to be more village minded. I think we need to go back to being like that village mindset.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're missing, because we live so far apart now. Like even if you live in Dallas, you can live 30, 40, 50 minutes away.
And we have so much more now.
Yes,
like we have more
access.
resources. Like people have bought beautiful homes now. People have more money. They have more discretionary income. Like, so it's like we're in a more comfortable place than when we were first refugees, or when people first migrated over. But
those are the pros and cons of like the societies. Like even though like the village system, when we talk about the village society, people will say like, well, you know, there's not like a lot of resources, not a lot of access, but also there's so much community and people like
depending on each other,
depend on each other with raising kids. If you need something, if you need like, you know, there's like this group economics type of mindset that's missing here now as a South Sudanese diaspora in America.
Yeah, we've assimilated a little bit too much into our respective new cultures. But we still need to hold on to who we are.
And see each other as like a village, like a family, and still like look out for each other. Because I think that's really what's missing in our society, in the diaspora. And that's what our platform is about, like exploring the issues of the diaspora and trying to fix it. And so who in the South Sudanese community do you admire or look up to, Christine?
Oh, no, not me.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh. There's so many people.
I know.
There's really so many people. Honestly,
they don't have to be famous or anything.
There's just so many people, and I don't want to have the cheesy, politically correct answer. But honestly, shout out to all of the content creators. I feel like there's so many more now. Shout out to Nima Tang, first of all. But shout out to all of the other content creators as well. I feel like there's so many. It's so cool to get on social media and see a content creator that you might not even know of. And I'm like, that's definitely a South Sudanese person. So I feel like I'm glad that we're getting our image out there, our likeness out there, so that people know that, you know, like we're out there, and it's more, I feel like people are more interested in who we are and our culture. Shout out to the athletes that are killing it, that are also bringing a lot of attention.
Our shining stars, our bright stars.
Our shining stars who are going to be, well, right now, who are playing
at the Olympics.
Over at the Olympics. So shout out to them putting South Sudan's name out there on the world front. Like anybody who is amplifying South Sudan's name and bringing more attention to us in a positive light, honestly, like I'm looking up to them.
I want to give a shout out to all of our South Sudanese business owners. Specifically Well, the ones in diaspora for sure, but also the ones who live in South Sudan, because I can only imagine how hard it is to break into the private sector
for sure.
and start your own business. And they're showcasing to us here in the diaspora that it is possible to make a way for yourself. So I want to shout out Dr. Julia.
Yes.
She has Moya IV. Moya means water in Arabic.
Arabic Juba.
But it's like they're like supplements, like that you can put electrolytes that you can put into your water. She's a doctor, so she actually has studied.
First of all, clap for that.
She's a doctor. She's a doctor and has studied everything, like all the components that go into these, into her products. And so she is sponsored even by the basketball, the South Sudanese the federation or the South Sudanese basketball team. And so she's doing amazing. I also want to shout out Good Vibes Juba. Yes. They are the first. I'm gonna jump out the window and say the first South Sudanese magazine.
And you guys check them out. Like they have like a digital copy as well, which is really, really well put together.
Yes,
I'll give them that.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so
shout out to Dane Khan. I think he's the founder of that. And he's featured a lot of big people actually in the community on the magazine. So from models to like Luau Dane, basketball players, like different people on the front cover. So I think that's cool.
And being in media in South Sudan and showing like highlighting what the good in the country.
And the presentation is very, very important, very well put together. So I really admire the fact that the final product is just as good as any other magazine out there.
Any other magazine. He did
not better.
They did an amazing job. So shout out to you guys. If you guys know any other South Sudanese companies that you want to highlight, leave them down in the comments. And
shout out to the comedians, the people in entertainment,
Emmanuel Comedy.
Media.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Emmanuel Comedy. Shout out to people in the music industry who are making music, who are putting us out there. Anyone who is amplifying, like I said, our image, our likeness, and letting people know that we're out here. Like, shout out to you.
And taking the road less traveled.
Yeah. South Sudan,
yes. Shout out to you guys. We love you guys so much. So thank you for watching this episode. Let us know your thoughts and answer the questions that we asked. We're probably going to post some of the responses, but make sure we want to hear your point of view as well. And when we do pass the mic, we want y'all to get on the mic. You guys are our virtual panelists.
Yes.
So we want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. And stay tuned for our next episode next week.
We're going to have a
panel next week.
Yeah.
Oh, let us know how you feel about just us two.
Yeah. Did we do okay?
This is so different.
I know.
It's very
But we
different.
are definitely going to be trying out different setups, different backgrounds. Listen, y'all say y'all want more content, so whatever it takes, even if we can't get our studio all the time, we're going to put something out.
You guys were the panelists this time.
So, yeah.
Y'all were our virtual panelists.
Today is all about South Sudan. We don't need a panel. It's about South Sudan.
Amen.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Please let us know what you think. We really, really appreciate your feedback. It helps us be better and create better content. Please be sure to also like the videos as you're watching. Whenever there's a comment that's made or something happens that you like, just give us a like. It's absolutely free to you, but it helps us out so much. It helps promote our content out there to other people, not just South Sudanese, but people who are interested in South Sudanese people, and helps us grow our content. So,
Yes, and just let us know how you feel about this episode. And shout out to our virtual panelists who sent us in their responses. We really do appreciate you contributing to the conversation.
Right.
And happy birthday, South Sudan. We love you guys.
We love you always.
Wherever you are.
Please comment down below why you are proud to be South Sudanese. We're keeping it all positive now. I know there's a lot of things we could fix, but in this video particularly, we want to keep it positive. So please comment, what is your favorite thing about being South Sudanese? And if you're not South Sudanese, what is your favorite thing about South Sudanese people? Or what have you learned about South Sudanese people that you admire?
Yes, I love that. Thank you guys so much. We love you, and we'll see you next time with our full panel. Yes, period. Love y'all.
Love you. Bye.